Welcome everybody. My name is HyperChucks, partner mixer streamer and Discord app um, live streamer. Here I am doing a short video on how to make your Firebot um, interactive board for those mixer streamers out there. First of all, you're gonna need a couple of stuff before you can actually dive into creating the board itself. First thing, you need to go to the Firebot releases and get the latest release from the GitHub repository. I will put the link on the description below so you guys can get the latest release. You can tell which one is the latest release because of the green tag right here, and it tells you the version. At the moment, I am doing the video for the version 4.4.5. Probably in the future we're gonna have different versions coming up. Most of the stuff will basically be the same, maybe a little bit of different features or improvements, but these still apply. So first of all, you will download the setup.exe or the MSI, install it on your computer, and after that we're gonna go to other things that you might need. You also have to set it up. Once you install it, you have to log in with your with your streamer account and your bot account. When you're doing these, you have to be logged off of every browser on the mixer. So you go to your mixer, log off, and make sure that all the browsers are the same, Microsoft Edge and Firebot. So you authenticate your streamer, then log off again the browser, do the same thing for the bot until you get these. Once you have these, that means you successfully have logged in your streamer account and your bot account. As far as creating the board, you have to go into the Dev Lab first. So click on your icon where you're gonna see your account, go to the Dev Lab, and I have two already made, but I'm gonna be working on the first one right here, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. So if you don't have one, you can just create one. You can come over here, name it like test or whatever you want to test, name it, click save, and then in this page over here you can give it the description of the board. You can put a image right here so you can identify what board it is, the name, the project, game optional. You can type stuff over here, download URL if you are actually having this board somewhere else, and whatnot, and you can save it. Once you have that, you go back to the developer labs and go to editor. So I'm gonna go to the one that I already have. If you guys can see, I have an image, I have a project name, and I have some text that I put in here for people that wish to have this board, needs help, they can contact me through Discord. You're gonna go to build. This is where you're gonna build your board. So we're gonna use this first to create our board right here. This is what it's gonna look like on your screen once you enable your board. This is my default board right here. On the scenes, you can create different scenes. I have one for the mods, I have one for the social and whatnot. So therefore you create a new scene, and I'm gonna name it Star Wars board, right? And I click add, boom, and it's gonna have nothing here. It's gonna have nothing in the controls. You're gonna have three different grids: the grids for the desktop, grid for the tablets, and the grid for the phones or mobiles. I normally do it for the desktop. I haven't done it for the tablets or the phones. 1 second, guys. Sorry for the interruption, but my dog decided to walk into the room and do his thing. But as I was saying, we did create the board, the scene right here. This is the grids where your buttons are going to be located at, and the three different views for tablet, mobile and desktop. In order to add the buttons, like you're not adding the buttons to your streaming here yet, you have to create controls. In the controls, that's where you're going to be creating your buttons. So you hit add a new control, you give it a name. Let's say that I'm going to put in here Chewy for Chewbacca, or I can put Chewbacca, alright, and I add it. Boom. This button then can be dragged over here. You're gonna have this symbol right here, so this means the button is not gonna be active because you have to add a text to it. What the button is gonna look like, what is it gonna say when you place the button. So let's say I'm gonna put Chewy. You have to put the spark cost in this right here in this board. This is where you assign. Even though that you can assign it in Firebot, it will not take place because you haven't put it over here on the dev lab. So let's say that I wanted to put it to 50 sparks. You can put whatever sparks you want to have on your buttons itself. Later on, you can assign the cooldowns and all that stuff in Firebot, and we're gonna go over that. Keyboard controls, if you want, for the participant to press one key on their keyboard to trigger this button in particular, or tooltips. If you want the button to say something like a screaming Chewbacca here, a screaming Chewy. So when they hover over that button, it's gonna say a screaming Chewy. And you can add other properties, but I don't go over that. This is for more advanced. I'm trying to do just a more simple type of board, especially for beginners. And then you close it right here. You see that the symbol that was right here is gone now because it does contain some values. Once you're successful with this, I always save, because sometimes I know, you know how the internet is, and sometimes everything gets screwed up. So normally I do 2 or 3 buttons and then I save. So therefore you go ahead and take the button, the drag and drop control the grid, and you assign it to a spot in the board. For example, I just drop it here. You can drop it whatever. You can actually extend it to the sides. You can make it taller, wider, and whatnot. It does have, I think, the minimum is, what is it, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like 7 or 8 squares actually right there. I think that's the smallest that it can go, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 by 4. So it's a 6 by 4 square. This is the smallest that you can make it. But you can do the same thing with all your buttons. Let's create one more, and then we go and tell you what is it that you need in order to make your board compatible between both Firebot and your dev lab. Let's put in here good. I added it. We see the symbol right here. We added text. I'm gonna put good in here. I'm gonna put 100 sparks in this one, and a tooltip. It's really good. For example, this is just an example, guys. You can put whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with your board. And therefore we drag it right here, put it right next to it. You can move it from here, there, whatever you want to place it. So we got 2 buttons right here. They both successful. We save it. Remember, after each button you save. You have to save it. And then after that, you will have a code right here. You go build code. You're gonna have a code right here to sync your board from here with Firebot. Now let's go ahead. After you install Firebot, this is what you're gonna see. But you're not gonna see these buttons over here because mine's already created. After you guys see it right here. Second of all, you're gonna need all your files for sounds and all your GIFs on a folder. Like I have mine set to my external hard drive because there's a lot of them. And I have it like OBS resources for sounds. So let's go with sounds. and I got my Star Wars sounds right here, right? MP3, MP4s for videos and whatnot. So I got those right here. I can open another one. Well, we're gonna see it here in a second. So we got these right here. So after you install that, you can have a wizard. You can come over here, open the wizard, and you can go through the wizard to install and set up your whole Firebot. Once you set them up, it's gonna ask you to enter that code that I was talking about on their build tab right here. On the build tab, it's gonna, I mean the code tab. This code you're gonna copy. You can click this icon here. It's gonna copy to your clipboard. Then you're gonna come and paste it. Once you're doing the setup, it's gonna ask you the same thing. If you go to, let's say over here, you want to create a new board, right? Add a new board. It's gonna ask you for the code. So you paste the code in here, and it's gonna add the board. And for me, I already have it created, right? So I can, if you already have one created and you're just adding, you can resync the board, and it's gonna, you see, boom, it populates right here in the Star Wars, and it's gonna bring the buttons in here. The buttons still not gonna do anything just yet. You have to go through the modifications and adding audio and adding text if you want for the stuff to put stuff on the text chat, or if you want just graphics to populate on your screen. So let's say that these two buttons, let's work with them. You want to edit it. You guys see the cost of sparks that you assign throughout the throughout the build that we were doing on the dev lab. So we're gonna edit it here. Remember, this button has to be active. The control ID is Chewbacca. The button text is Chewie. This is what is gonna appear the button, and this is what it's gonna look like. Spark cost is 50. Here is where you're gonna assign the cooldown that you want this button to have. As well, you can also do groups. So if you want 2 or 3 buttons to have the same cooldown, you can assign it on a group, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Just keep logging, you don't have to do that. So this is where the cream of the crop comes. You want to add effects. So for example, we want to add a chat to change the scene, celebration if you guys want to have like fireworks coming up, API buttons if you want to have any sort of API. I think you only have a couple in here, pick one. Well, it does have quite a few here. Celebration, it does have only fireworks. The chat if you want to tell chat something. Cooldowns, delays, dice, HTML if you want to code your own HTML overlay and whatnot. Play sound, image, and video. This is the most used in this application. So let's go with the sound. We want to choose from what I told you guys. Do you want to create a file where you have all your sounds? Like mine's are on the H drive under Star Wars sounds, right? And this is gonna be Chewbacca roar. I double click on it, and you see the path of the whole file right here. You can adjust the volume the way you want it, and then you can click save changes if that's the only thing that you want to do. If you want to do some more stuff, you can add another effect. So far, this is what we have, and we can test it, and you guys are gonna be able to hear it. You guys heard that? It's the Chewie roar. This right here is not gonna cost you any sparks, but you're gonna be able to test and hear it if you're doing just sounds. I'm gonna show you once we add the images right here. If you add another effect, right, you're gonna choose scroll down, choose show image. This one is a little bit more complicated because it depends where you want your image, the size and whatnot. So we choose, I do have OBS resources, I think it's saying images, Star Wars, yes, there we go. And I got a Giphy for Chewbacca, right? I pick it, it's gonna place it in there where I want it on the screen. I'm gonna show you guys how to place an overlay on the OBS, but this is where you show where you want it. I normally have it on middle. Then you can choose whatever effects you want, how many pixels. I normally go like 300 by 300 or 300 by 200. And how many seconds. This is the tricky part. You have to know how long your sound file is in order to have the Giphy last either the same duration or a little bit more. I normally go for like 3 seconds for short Giphies. And then we add save changes. Now, how do I test this particular Giphy with the sound? Easy. You go back to settings, overlay, and get the overlay path. You copy these, hit OK, you open your OBS, and I got it right here. You're gonna be like, open, you're gonna add a browser source, and I close it. I apologize. I'm not a recorded streamer. I'm mostly a live streamer, but I'm gonna show you. I got a Firebot right here already. So it is a browser source. You paste the link right here. You can put the width and height to whatever you want. I normally put it either to the full screen or a portion of the screen. Like mine right now is 800 by 600. I got an FPS 60, but you can have it at 30 FPS. This doesn't matter. You can actually delete that if you want. Shut down source when not visible. You want that to save some CPU, because if you're not into that scene, it will save you some CPU. It refreshes the browser when the scene becomes active. If you start having lagging with the images and the sound, like they on sync, you can always refresh the cache of the current page. You can do that and then click OK. Right here, mine is complete. It takes the whole screen right here, right? So let's put in here and let's test our button. Go back to Star Wars. Let me so you guys can see it, and let's test it. You guys see right here, the image and the sound came on. This is how you can test it, and then you can modify it. If you don't like it, if you don't want it, you can show image. You can put it on the top left, but just make sure to save the changes every time before you test it. And then you test it top left. Very, very easy, right guys? Alright, so let's do one for the good. Let's put that it's gonna be cooldown. Let's put 30 seconds. We add an effect. We're gonna add some sound. Choose. We go back to our sound. And this one is what? Good? Okay, good MP3. Bam. We keep it at 5. You can put it louder or quieter depending on how the source of that, the sound of that particular file is. And then you can add another effect. You don't have to save it right away, but you can go and add the image as well. We're gonna choose an image. We go over here again, images, and Star Wars GIFs. And let's say I want to put this one right here. I want it to be in the middle. Let's add some roll in and then roll out. Those are effects that you can put. As well, the pixels, let's put it like 300 by 250. Let's put 300 250 so you guys can see. Seconds, I'm gonna put 4 seconds. Now that we have the effects that we want, we can save the changes and then we can test it. Good. Right there. Perfect, right? You guys got to see it. So we have covered how to make the boards, how to bring them together. Now, you want to guys see it on how it's going to look in the stream. It's like, oh man, but how they going to look in my stream? So easy. Let's go over here. Let's back out. Go back to Mixer. I'm going to open my channel so you guys can see it. It's going to be down here below. And let's bring Firebot to the other side. Oops. Oh. Right here, right here. Okay, side by side, right? So let's say that I want the board to populate. I connect the interactive, and I can connect the chat. I probably have to refresh the page. Sometimes you just, oh, okay. Right here. Okay, so I want to go to the Star Wars board. This is the Star Wars board that I was talking about. This is the one that we just did. So you want to have your OBS kind of to the side so you can see it. I'm not going to be able to show you guys because I want you guys to see the pull down and the tooltips. You see Screaming Chewie, it is really good. You see, guys? Now, I don't remember if we put a cooldown for Chewie, but if we click it, this has no cooldown. This one is going to have a cooldown. Now, if you press it, you see the cooldown right here. And it's playing on the OBS you're not gonna be able to see it because I am not streaming at the moment. But so this is how you make your interactive board. You can add stuff to chat. For example, I do have my mods or my social right here. Battle.net. What I did, I added a cooldown of 60, no spark cost. In the chat, I put in here that the bot will send this message to the chat. Now you can have it so it sends a whisper to the user that presses the button. So you can put in here like user Hyperchuck's battle tag is or these are the different variables that you can use on it. And then you save the changes, boom. And every time somebody presses the button, it's gonna do what you tell them to do. And you can do it with everything else. I do have some that all they do is change scenes. Like you guys saw that I have different boards. So this one right here, it has the moderators. It's a moderators to go to the mod board. Only moderators can access it. I change scenes. Will be resetting scenes default or changing them. Change scenes. Which viewer group should change these scenes? It will be my moderators. And then which scene should we change to the mods board. I have all my boards in here, the mods board, and then save change. So that's how you can do if you're gonna have multiple different soundboards on it. Now to the groups, let me show you. So to the groups, let's say that you want multiple buttons on the same cooldown so they don't get spammed. So you click on this steering wheel right here, or the cogwheel right there. I'm sorry, steering wheel. Okay, so these are your viewer group settings. And you want everybody to start in the default board, unless you want them to start in, like in the mod board or whatever board else you have. Let's say that you create one for your subs, you can have your subscriber to start in that particular board, and this is where you assign it. I have everybody to start in the same board, in the default board. Groups cooldowns, easy. You come over here, you click add, you name it, whatever. I put a G1, G2, G3. It was easier. How many cooldowns you want in seconds? So if you want 2 minutes, you put 120 seconds. And then you assign the buttons that you want in here. Let's say that you boom, boom, these two, and then you save changes. It will create a button. Let's put in here test. Let's put 10 seconds. And let's say police, and oh my god, disaster. And I hit click changes. Look right here, 2 buttons have the same cooldown. But I'm gonna delete this one because I don't need it. Alright, so I'm pretty sure. Okay, commands, you can add commands in your chat as well if you want, and that's where this chat disconnected or connected, you connect your chat in there, because you can add commands in here. Permissions, skip. What does the command do? The command can do the same things as your buttons can do, but they're gonna be commands instead of buttons. You put the command, what triggers it, the seconds, and whatnot. Let's see what else. I don't have any commands here because majority of my commands are scored by. Viewer groups, You can create a new groups if you decide to name it whatever you want. Like let's say the Chucky Bots or the Storm Chasers or whatever you want to name it. You can name it and assign a group. I don't use these very often because I normally use uh, viewers, moderators, subscribers, staff, and pros. Uh, then you have moderation here. This one right here, you have to event log of what's happening. If you want to see what's happening throughout while you're streaming and who's pushing what and who's changing boards, you're gonna see it here. The people that you ban is gonna be right here, and the spark exemptions. If you want to give an incentive to your viewers, you can, for example, I have my subscribers. They don't spend any sparks. So I have my moderators and subscribers not to spend any sparks, but sometimes this doesn't catch up quite fast. So I normally manually add them, and when their subscription run out, I take them off. And you add them down here, not here. This is how you search. Here's how you add somebody, and you hit send, and it's gonna populate in here, and you can look them up. Settings, you have the generals, the open wizard. Remember, if you need to reset the board or whatnot, go here. You can change the color to dark, light. I normally have like dark. The auto update, the app sound, I have it so whenever I go like this, it sounds. You see? The root folder, it tells you where the folder for Firebot is located at. The interactive, don't mess with these. Overlay, like I said, you grab this path right here, copy it into your OBS as a browser source. Backups, it is always good to keep backups. Get the backup, try to so it deletes prior, so it doesn't clutter your hard drive or whatever you are saving your backups. Advanced, you don't want to mess with this. This is for overlay web server ports and or overlay instances. So and updates, it tells you if it's up to date or it needs any more updates. That's basically it, what you need in here. You can change boards in here. You always resync. I always resync, especially if I did any changes to the board. If I haven't done any changes to the board, I don't. Right here, I can change to this one, from HyperChuck's gaming board to Hyper Steam board. I do have the test, but remember that we didn't put the code to import the other board into here. But this is pretty much it. You can have it so it shows in buttons, or you can have it to have it as a list. A lot of people use it to show in buttons instead of a list. I like the list because I normally have this a little bit more minimized than what it looks right now. And in here you can test it. You can test all these. You see? Perfect. Star Wars. If I go over here to the gaming, we can test it. You can press the button and test it. And but that's about it. Just remember what you have to have. You have to create your board on the Dev Lab. You have to have a file where you put all your sounds, files, and your GIFs or videos. I do have videos on it, but remember, if you're gonna put videos, you have to put show video instead of show image when you are modifying. For example, here instead of show image, you will want show video, but it has to be like an MP4, I believe it is. So once you have all that and you created your board over there in the Dev Lab, remember to copy paste that build code and bring it to here. When you add the board or what you do in the wizard, it's going to ask you for the code and you can import that. If you guys have any questions regarding on how to build your Firebot, feel free to contact me. HyperChucks is my name. I am a mixer streamer. You can find me at http://mixer.com/hyperchucks, or you can write to me here and on YouTube, vid.me. You can find me on Discord at http://discord.gg/hyperchucks. That is my partner server that you guys can find me there as well. Other than that, hopefully this video helped you guys kind of understand a little bit how to make a basic interactive board. There's many more advanced and other utilities that you can use within Firebot, and I will be making another video for Scorebot as well. Scorebot has an interactive section that is on an alpha state, but it's a little bit more complicated than this one. I found that this Firebot is a little bit more simple to deal with, to set up and connect, but it does have a little bit of flaws sometimes, and majority of the day, if it gets spam a lot, it does cache quite a bit, and my images start slowing down, so I had to re-clear the cache in order for the board to come back on. That's about it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and remember, if you got any questions, just post it. I'm gonna leave the link below for my channels and how to where to download Firebot, and where to go for your dead laugh and whatnot. Thank you all so much, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video.